I've given everybody the ability to chat, I would ask if you just pop yourself on mute when you're not talking. Just make sure we get rid of those erroneous background noises. And feel free to come off mute at any time if you want to ask a question as we go through. I do like to make these sessions as interactive as I can and make sure that you're getting exactly what you need out of the session. So feel free to just jump in and ask a question whenever you like. Okay, so let's start by talking a little bit about, why LinkedIn? Why are we here? What's the benefit of LinkedIn? What's all the big deal about? So I'm going to unashamedly say that LinkedIn is my favorite social media platform, and hopefully by the end of the hour, you'll see why I place so much value in LinkedIn. Gail, I'm just going to hit mute on you, but if you want to chat, feel free to come off mute. So currently with LinkedIn, there's over 772 million members globally, and we know that of those, there's a little over 11 million users just in Australia. So it's a well populated and a well-used platform. There's still 3 professionals joining LinkedIn every second. So the platform is going through exponential growth, and it's certainly seen 2020 was its largest year ever, and it's still going through extreme growth. So it's definitely a platform that any business owner, any professional should be on. 40% of its users are active daily. So it does have a really high daily use, and roughly each average user will spend about 7 minutes per session on LinkedIn. So they're taking their time to kind of read an article, to scroll through their news feed to see what's happening. So they are spending a little bit of time on LinkedIn. And roughly now it's just shy of 60% of all traffic is coming from mobile devices. So I'd ask you to think about, if you're using LinkedIn, how are you using it now? Are you checking in from your phone? Are you using it on desktop? What's your preferred method of usage? Because the way that you operate LinkedIn, whether it's from a phone or from a laptop or desktop, will alter the way that you do some of the things that we're going to talk about today. And I'll bring those differences out as we go through. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Monika, and good morning, Rachel. I'm just going to hit the allow to talk. Just ask if you make sure that you're all on mute, but feel free to interrupt at any point if you've got any questions. So we're just kicking off. You haven't missed a whole lot. And a reminder, folks, I am recording this session, so I will send the recording out for you as soon as possible after we're finished. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me and why I'm running the session, a little bit more about who I am and why I'm here. So my name is Tracy Sheen. I'm part of the Queensland chapter, and I'm known as the Digital Guide. So I've been working in the marketing, small business technology space since 1990. I've authored a book called The End of Technophobia. I work predominantly with small business owners, typically aged over 40, that are overwhelmed around technology and unaware of how to best maximize it in their business. I have recently been named as one of the top 50 small business leaders in Australia. I judge a bunch of awards, from podcasting awards to Australian Marketing Awards to Web Awards to Business Book Awards, and also New South Wales Tourism. What else have I done? I've been involved in the launch of the iPhone in Australia, the launch of SMS technology. I do a lot of training. So typically my days are now running workshops, webinars, things like that. And I've facilitated well over 2,000 workshops now. I'm just going to check the chat box. And Catherine's just, thank you, Catherine. Unsolicited referral there. So Catherine's just saying it's a great book. So thank you, Catherine. So that's kind of why I'm here chatting about this stuff. I love social media. I spend a lot of my time helping clients understand and how to get the most out of social media and marketing for their business. Okay, so what I'm going to do during this session is kind of jump a bit between slides and my LinkedIn profile, so you can see kind of how it will look for you when you're making any changes or what you'll need to do to get the most out of your profile. So just a quick show of hands. There's a little bit emoticons at the bottom. You'll see the option to kind of click on the screen and just give me a thumbs up or something. Who's actually using LinkedIn right now? Just love to know. So we've got Karen, Christine, Monica, perfect. Okay, so a few of you are actually using LinkedIn now. Andrea, I know you're well involved in the platform as well. Okay, perfect. So that's just what I wanted to know, is how many people are actually active on the platform and how many just kind of don't understand it at all. And Gail's saying she's a bit lapsed. Well, hopefully by the end of the session, Gail, you'll be reinvigorated. So let's take a look. If you want to get the most out of your LinkedIn profile, to me, there's kind of 3 big areas that you need to consider before you push forward and make any changes or start spending a lot of time on the platform. So the first thing I'd ask you to consider is, what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known as an author? Do you want to be known as a speaker? Do you want to be known for sales, for marketing? What's your area of expertise that you want to be known for? So Monique is saying she started 18 months ago on LinkedIn and is growing. Love that. Perfect. So that's the first thing. What do you want to be known for? The next thing I'd ask is, what's your objective? So there's a lot of different ways that you can use LinkedIn. It can be used to build your authority. It can be used as an outreach platform to look for partnerships, referrals for clients. You can use it as a marketing tool. You can use it to look for new team members. So there's a lot of different ways, but get really clear on what your objective for using LinkedIn is, and it will really help you when it comes to creating content and to personalizing your profile. And the last thing I'd ask you to consider is, what are your keywords? LinkedIn has a very big reach in terms of SEO, search engine optimization assistance for your website. Google consider LinkedIn to be the perfect website because it has a lot of content going live every day and it's got a lot of people using the platform. So a lot of people will actually search for you or search for someone in your industry based on certain keywords. So keywords for me, for example, would be things like training, technology, marketing, sales. So I want to make sure when I'm crafting my profile and when I'm updating how I use LinkedIn, that I'm mindful of the keywords that my clients, my referral partners, the people that I want to connect and engage with on the platform are going to be looking for. Okay, so let's jump across now to my profile and you can see what I mean. So I'm inside my own LinkedIn account and I'm going to take you directly to my profile and we're going to have a look at it from the inside out. So at any time there's any questions, just jump off mute and go ahead and ask them, because I want to make sure, like I said, that we're getting everything that you need out of this session. So the way that LinkedIn breaks your profile down from the top down is its level of importance, I guess is the best way to kind of say it. So it starts with obviously your name. Now you can see in my headline, in my profile here, I've put in brackets behind my surname, CPM. Now that stands for Certified Practicing Marketer, and I've been recognized as a Certified Practicing Marketer by the Australian Marketing Institute, which is our governing body as marketers in Australia. Now, the reason I've done that is I know people who are aware of the industry will search often for CPMs. They want to work with, they want to connect with people who have been recognized by the industry. So I've chosen to set my profile apart straight away by putting that CPM in there. Now, it's rare that I see that happen, and there needs to kind of be a reason for it. The other place I could put it is in my headline, which I'll get to in a moment. You can put a former name in there. So if you, have pre-marriage or anything, you can add that in there. You can add now an audio recording of the pronunciation of your name. Now, you typically do this via your mobile. So when you log into your account on your mobile phone and you go view profile on the top left-hand side, it'll give you the option to record how your name is pronounced. Particularly handy for those with names that are often, and Andrea, I'm looking at you. I've known you for years now, and I'm ashamed to say that I still pronounce your surname incorrectly every time I I introduce you. So really handy way of being able to, just be really clear with people of how your name is pronounced. So Andrea's saying she's finding a lot of people also putting the GAICD after their name if they're graduates of the AICD course. Yep, perfect. So that would be, as Andrea's saying, that you could add something like that in there. The next thing they've done recently, which I love, is add the pronouns. Now you can choose from she, her, they, them, etc. Or if that's not as relevant for you in your industry, you can choose a custom pronoun. And then what you can do is add what you're known as. So as I said, when I introduce myself, I'm known as the digital guide. That's what my clients call me. That's what I'm referred to in the media. So I've chosen to really set my profile apart by adding that digital guide in there up front. So it's a great way to use that space. And I'll show you where that sits on the live profile. So you can see in brackets here. So immediately you can see I've recorded, because it's got that little speaker, the little megaphone there. I've recorded how to pronunciate my name. And then I've added the custom profile and it sits in that bracket there. If you're looking at other people's profiles and they've added the she, her, they, them, he, him, that will sit in there as those pronouns. A great little way to just separate yourself from the market and show that you kind of know how to use LinkedIn. So Monika's saying, I thought you could be a member to put, okay, I thought you had to be a member to put GAICD, perhaps it's MAI. Okay, that one I can't answer for you, Monika. That might be an Andrea. There we go. So Andrea's saying it's the member, G is for graduate and F is for fellow. Perfect. Okay. The next and probably the most important part in terms of remembering thinking keywords is your headline. You have 120 characters to work with here, and you have two options. You can either work with various keywords, which is what I've chosen to do. So I help small business owners conquer digital overwhelm, but then I've got partnering with small business communities in regional Australia, trainer, author, speaker. I know that they are three keywords that people look for when they're searching to connect with people in my industry. So I've chosen to put them as headline words that are easily found and are easily searchable. But the other thing I've done is articulate very clearly what I do. So I help small business owners conquer digital overwhelm, and I do that by partnering with small business communities in regional Australia to close the digital divide. So I typically work with councils, state government, federal government, corporates, etc., to deliver training programs and things to help small business owners. And then the last one, because I've just been given the kudos, top 50 small business leader in Australia. Didn't have the whole 120 characters to put in Australia, so top 50 small business leader. The other thing you can do if you don't want to break down the keywords is to actually write a little story there, and it will show up in that space there. So you could choose to write a paragraph, 120 characters of information to set yourself apart. So again, going back to thinking about what do we want to be known for and what do we want to use LinkedIn for, that will really tell you how to set your headline up. Any questions on the headline before I move on? Yep, someone went to speak.
Doesn't it become a bit confusing to have too much there?
In what way?
Sorry, my keeps. I've authored a book.
Mm-hmm.
I've, as you also know, I've received this Professor Shirley Randall Award,
mm-hmm.
and I'm on the boards of some NFPs, which are very well recognized, Women's Electoral Lobby, etc. And I am a psychotherapist in practice,
mm-hmm.
practicing in the mental health space for CALD people, for culturally and linguistically diverse people. Mm-hmm. So doesn't it become too jumbly? That's what I think if I try to squeeze everything in. So and I'm telling you now, Tracy, I will come to you for advice after this is over, okay?
Okay, so Monika, the big thing, come back to what do you want to use LinkedIn for? Which area do you want to promote? Do you want to be known on LinkedIn as the author? Do you want to be known as the mental health advocate? And then you would focus that headline around that particular topic. As we go through the profile, I'll show you there's an area where you can add those additional pieces. So your license, certification, volunteer experience, education. So you can still call everything out in a way that won't be as cluttered. But from the headline point of view, you want to focus on what's your intention for LinkedIn, which area of the business you want to grow.
Could you have it like 2 or 3 areas? And I'm asking you very humbly and straightforwardly. Is that too much?
No, so I'll show you when we get down to the experience here how I've tackled that, because I still run a couple of businesses. So I want to make sure that I'm providing a space where I can talk about that, but I'm doing it in a way that is not going to be, as you said, cluttered or confusing for anyone who first visits my profile. And I'll be interested if you take a look at my profile after this to see whether you feel as though it provided you some structure and some flow, or whether you felt a bit confused by what was going on. And Karen makes a great point there. Please don't put a number in brackets representing how many connections you have. I don't typically see that a whole lot anymore, Karen. It was popular a couple of years ago, but people don't typically do that now. So that would indicate to me that they're not a prolific LinkedIn user if they're still going ahead and doing that. Okay, so that's your headline, 120 characters. Think about your keywords, think about why you're there, and think about what you want to be known for, and let that guide what you put into your headline. It will show your current position. So if you're running a couple of businesses, here's where you need to choose what you want to be known for. Do you want to be known as, you know, the digital guide, a founder of another business, author, trainer? What do you want to be known for? And choose that as your current position, which will show on your main section. And here's where you can begin to add some additional education. So I'll show you this in the bigger profile so we can build it out a little more. But this is a section you want to make sure that you've gone through and completed in full to give your profile that complete look. Okay, so moving down the page, what we're aiming for as we complete our profile is we want to get to an all-star status. And all-star status means that we've completed the majority of the sections of our profile. We've built them out. We've thought about how we want to show up on LinkedIn, and we've really made an effort to fill in some detail behind there. So we're looking for all-star status when we've finished building out our profile. Now, usually if I'm working on someone's profile, I will write this stuff offline. So I'll write it in a Word document or something like that. I know what my character limits are. I'll make sure that it's grammatically correct because, you know, I might be a marketer, but I'm horrible at grammar. So I'll write it out, make sure it's all perfect, and then I'll just copy and paste it across into LinkedIn. So that's probably one of my biggest tips. And then I've got a copy of it offline. So anytime I want to change it, I can just go back, copy, paste, change what I want to change, and then copy and paste directly into LinkedIn. Okay, the next most important section of your profile in terms of maximizing your benefits on LinkedIn is your about section. You've got 2,000 characters here to work with. Now, the objective here is to get as close to that character limit as you can. Now, the reason for that is, again, thinking keywords. You want to provide a space where people can easily search for and find and understand what it is that you do and what you want to be known for on LinkedIn. Current best practice on your about and creating your LinkedIn profile is to write it in the first person. So I will, I have, I've done, not in the third person. So typically now when we see a LinkedIn profile that's been written in the third person, we look at it as if that person is going for a job. They're using LinkedIn as their resume builder as opposed to a business building tool. So that's probably one of the most significant changes we've seen in the LinkedIn space in the last 12 to 18 months is that transition from third person to first person. So again, not saying my profile is perfect by any stretch of the imagination. However, if you read through mine, you'll see, you know, it's all written in that first person. Now, when you're looking at the about section, you want to bear in mind that, let me just refresh it so I can show you. You want to put the highlight of what you really want people to see in that first kind of sentence. Now, if someone's scrolling through my profile, this is exactly what they'll see until they click on the see more. So I want to make sure that you know exactly what I want you to know in that first sentence. So if you don't click on the see more, you've got what I want you to know. So if you want help to upskill your small business community and conquer digital overwhelm, drop me a message. Here's my email, or give me a call. So immediately, if you don't click anymore and you don't read my backstory, you know what I want you to do. And this is also starting to tell you that I'm using LinkedIn to connect with my corporate and government kind of partnership model. And I use Facebook to connect with my small business community. Now, that's not to say I don't have a number of small business owners that I engage with on the LinkedIn platform. However, my focus, and remember, we're coming back to those big 3 questions, my focus for LinkedIn is to build my authority and my credibility within that corporate space so they can engage me to come on board and help their small business community. Now, if I expand that see more, I then begin to tell you. So I work with local councils, chambers of commerce, state, federal government, blah, blah, blah. You can have a read of this in your own time. Here's what I do. I guide your organization to close the digital divide in your region through in-person and hybrid training models based on 3 years of research. Now, I know that these are all keywords. I know that my audience, local councils, chambers of commerce, etc., will search for training local councils, training chamber of commerce, workshops, webinars, that kind of thing, and they'll put their own association and their own industry, their own government department, etc., in there. So I know by peppering my about section with those keywords, I'm at a very good chance of being found by my ideal audience. Does that make sense? Any questions on this? Because I know we're kind of going through this all really, really quickly. So jump in if anyone wants any clarification on anything. So again, 2,000 characters. You'll see a lot of white space. So by that, I mean a lot of double entries between, and I keep my sentences really short. The reason for that, 57% of people use LinkedIn on their mobile. So if I open up someone's profile and it's a really condensed piece of writing, it makes it very hard to read. So by structuring it with lots of white space in between, it's nice and easy to read through on a mobile. It's short, it's sharp. Each piece almost stands out like a bullet point. So really, really easy to read. I'm making it easy for my people to consume my content. Okay, next one down under the about section becomes the experience. Now, this is where, Monica, this is where you're going to think about all of the things that you do. This has been a really interesting change within LinkedIn, and it's something that you can really begin to set your profile apart from others by considering the different roles that you actually hold within your business, particularly as a small business owner. So typically within our own business, we often have several streams of income, or we do different things. So what we can do now is actually break down, so you can see each of these little dot points still sits under this business of the digital guide, but it's showing each of the different streams or each of the different components within the business. So the Small Business Tech Club is a community that of small business owners that I have that pay a monthly membership, and we do training and, all kinds of good stuff every month. So that's one thing that sits within the digital guide. Another thing that sits within the digital guide is training. So I want to call that out as a separate thing. So if I've got a council looking through and they just see the tech club, they kind of go, oh, well, I was looking for a trainer. So obviously that's not what she does. Well, I want to make sure that I'm saying, hey, if you're looking for a trainer, I do that. If you're looking for an author, I'm an author. If you're looking for just the overarching business, here's what we do. The other thing that happens by doing this is it gives you an additional 2,000 characters per job, per stream within the business. So by creating, so hitting the little plus button, give yourself a title, so lead trainer, author, etc. You add, whether it's a contract, full-time, which company it's associated with, so the digital guide, whatever the business is. And then you begin to write your description, and it gives you 2,000 characters for each stream. So Monika, that could answer your question about, all of the different things that you have under the banner of what you do. That's where you can call it out really separately. The other thing that allows you to do is then begin to think of the specific keywords, key phrases that people would be looking for related to that part of the business. So if you can see here with lead trainer, in my dot points, here's some topics that I can cover in terms of workshops or webinars for you. Here's, some additional things that I've written about in my book. So immediately I'm giving my audience an idea of, here's the type of topics. If you're looking for a trainer, here's the type of things that I can work with to help you develop, a webinar or a workshop or things like that. So it really helps you kind of pare back and be very, very specific to your audience on what it is that you're looking to achieve and how you want to be known. The other cool thing that you can do now is include some images, so videos or photos, things like that, that just kind of build out your profile a little more. So you can click on any of those and it will just open up to, again, here's me organizing a workshop or presenting at USQ or whatever it is. So Monika's just saying, my mistake is constructing it like a corporate CV, not highlighting. Yeah. And it's a real mind shift around doing that, Monika. But once you've done it, you'll really begin to kind of go, oh, okay, I really get the value of how this is very, very different to building it out like a CV. So 2,000 characters per section of your experience. Put some time in. Again, this is not something that you're going to do in an hour. So typically, again, if I'm working with a client, we'll work on, one section per week or something like that and build it out slowly, slowly, slowly. So you've always got that opportunity to be coming back and tweaking and adding things. And Monika, so Christine, yeah, it's marketing. Light goes on. Perfect. Love that. It's exactly what it is. You're writing, it's like writing content for your website, right? You're thinking about each of the specific things that you do and who it is that you're targeting for each of those specific things. So as we kind of talked about, I have a second business that I run, which is a digital marketing agency. There's no training involved in that. It's pure digital marketing agency, and that's called Unusual Comms. So it's still going. I want to make sure that it's there, but it's not my focus for LinkedIn. It's not my, what I want to grab people's attention about. It's not what I want to be bringing clients into, but I want to say that, hey, I've got a fairly substantial background in what it is I do, even though the digital guide has only been going for a couple of years, right? I don't want people to look at it and go, hang on a minute, you're 2 years into the industry. What could you teach our people? I want them to start saying, oh, hang on a minute. Okay, she's had a lot of experience in this. So I also wanted to call out that I was an advisor for the federal government. So that, again, gives some credibility when I'm looking to connect with the people that I'm looking to connect with, governments, corporates, et cetera, et cetera. They can kind of go, okay, well, if you've been vetted and approved by the federal government to train and help small business owners understand marketing and things like that, you must know what you're doing. So I wanted to call that out as a separate role. So anything that is really specific that you really want to create some content and some keywords around, you would put it into your experience section. If it's a volunteer role, you'll pop it into your voluntary experience. So this is where my volunteer experience is where I add my things like, when I go and judge, or if I'm sitting on a committee or anything like that, I'll add it to the voluntary experience. So, category judge for the Australian Marketing Institute Awards, podcast awards, tourism awards. So it just shows people again that, A, I give back to my community, but B, again, I must kind of know what I'm doing if I'm being asked by, the leading bodies of these people to come on board as a judge. So that's your experience versus the volunteer kind of side of things. In terms of how far do you go back? Look, I've gone back, to be honest, to I've been using LinkedIn a long time. So I go back to my last corporate gig, which was, 2004. But if you're just rejigging your profile and you're moving away from like a CV to a business, I'd go back maybe, 5 or 10 years, unless there's a specific reason that you want to go back further to show that real history or longevity in the industry, then go back a little bit further. The thing to bear in mind, though, is try and build out each of your experiences. So you've got keywords or, a bit of content in there. There's nothing that shows that somebody doesn't understand the power of LinkedIn than having these sections, not filled out. I can look at somebody's profile and I can tell in a heartbeat if they actually see the value in LinkedIn or not, because they'll have put a little bit of experience in, but they won't have written a bit of a brief about what it is that they did. They won't be thinking about, the strategic value and why they would be adding that to their profile. Okay, I'm going to pause there. We're about halfway through. Questions on any of what we've gone through so far? Any clarifications, anything that's required?
Tracy, I'd like to ask a quick question. I noticed at the top of your profile, under your 140 characters, you also had talks about, and I don't see where you put that into the profile, the talks about digital guide, technophobia, etc. Where do you actually build that bit in?
Yeah,
what's
excellent.
the field?
Yep, that's great. So if you're in your profile, Andrea, and you look to your dashboard, you'll see my creator modes on. If you look at that,
okay, yeah.
And switch that on, then what that will do is start to give you some topics that you can add. And these are your hashtags. So hashtags are actually making a comeback in LinkedIn, and hashtags are used to search. So if I put into my little search bar up the top, hashtag digital guide, it'll show all of the posts that had used that hashtag for. So it gives you the ability to kind of say, these are the topics that I talk about. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. Anything else before we move on?
Nope.
All right. The other thing you want to do now is there's a featured section, and the featured section will allow you to include, I think it's up to, it's a little bit more now. So it was 5. There we go. That's expanded. It will allow you to include a post or an update that you want featured. So when somebody scrolls through your profile, here's the big highlight things that I want people to see. I want people to see, Koshi getting a copy of my book and being the keynote speaker at my book launch. I want to talk about the launch of the Tech Club. I want to make sure that, people see me with Julie Bishop, those kind of what's important to you. What are the features that you really want to highlight for your audience? So you can add those through, and it's suggested that you kind of change them up probably about once a quarter, add one in, drop one out, that kind of thing. Okay, so work through, the big thing is to work through each of the sections of your profile. So starting from the top in terms of importance, your headline, absolutely. 140 characters, 120, 140 characters. That is by far top line, the most important section. It's like the headline of a blog, the headline of the article. That's the thing that you can draw people in to read more. So you absolutely want to spend time there. Think about your keywords. Next most important is your about section, and then building out your experience, and then down from there, kind of thinking of it as a bit of an inverted pyramid in terms of the areas of importance, building out your education, listing out your volunteer experience, etc. So that's it in terms of building out your profile and where you'll put the emphasis in. I want to share a few other things that have happened recently that you can really use to your benefit. So a couple of things. One, always make sure that you've got a cover photo in the background. Otherwise, it's just wasted real estate. So typically what I suggest is, to really quickly tell people what it is you do. If you have a feature product, so for me, I want to highlight the fact that I've written a book and then, pop the website in. Not that it's clickable. However, if someone's looking for a quick way to connect with you, you just want to give them the information. Don't make them go searching. Don't make them have to work to connect with you, to find you. Just make sure that you pop it and make it nice and easy in the background. Your profile pic, please make sure that it's a corporate looking. I see one all the time that, it's a wedding photo or it's someone with a dog, or, make sure it's a corporate photo. I don't expect any of the people on the call to do anything less than that, but there's some pretty average ones out there. The other thing you can do now, and you can only do it from your mobile, but this is a recent update. If you log into your mobile phone, into the LinkedIn app on your phone, and click on your profile, you've got the ability to add a cover story. It's a 30-second video that you can describe who you are and what it is that you do. And then what happens if someone's flicking through LinkedIn and comes across your profile, when you're watching Harry Potter and you see the movie, the pictures on the wall that are kind of moving, it looks like that. It starts, your little profile picture starts to talk, just lets them know that you've got a cover story in there. 30-second video, nice and easy to do. You just record it on the phone and upload it. Mine's looking pretty average right now, but at least I've got something up there. So I strongly suggest that you add a cover story onto your LinkedIn profile. The next thing you want to do is edit your public profile and URL. So you'll notice if you look at the domain for my LinkedIn profile, it's linkedin.com/in/Tracy Sheen. So I've edited my LinkedIn URL to be my name. So if that's not edited, what it'll do is it'll typically have a bunch of numbers after it. So if you click on this section in your profile that says edit profile and URL, you can, on the right hand side here, edit your custom URL. So it says personalize the URL for your profile. You click on that and just pop your name in. Now, if there's a few of you and you like Chris Smith, for example, there'd be a lot of those out there. So you might have to say, Chris Smith digital guide, or, something like that to set yourself apart. But you've got between 3 to 100 letters or numbers. Can't use spaces, symbols, or special characters. But what that does, again, if you're sharing your profile with someone, it just makes it super easy to just grab that profile, grab that URL link. And again, it shows me that, you kind of understand your way around LinkedIn and you know how to personalize your own profile. So it's definitely a top tip to do there. Okay. Couple of other things that I said have changed that I want to walk you through. So under your profile, you'll see the settings and privacy. What you can do now is a couple of things in your visibility. You want to just go through each of these sections. Look at, so from a security point of view, I choose if your connections can see your connections list. So I don't want somebody coming to my profile and then going through my connections, looking for other people that they can connect with. I want to keep my connections private and treat them with the privacy, the security, the respect that I think my network deserves. So I've chosen to switch that off. The other thing you can do is just look at, where are we? It's moved again. Here we go. Manage active status profile. Your discovery using email address. So what happens quite a bit in LinkedIn, even though it breaks terms and conditions, is you can actually download or export your connection list. So I've got 4,500 people that I'm connected with on LinkedIn. I could, in theory, download that database and upload it to a marketing platform. So if you've, suddenly gone onto someone's marketing list and you've wondered how you've kind of ended up there, there's a good chance that somebody's done that on LinkedIn. Now, it does break terms of service with LinkedIn. I do not know why they actually allow you to do it, but just be aware that, you know, you can do it. So one of the things I like to do is just, you know, make it a little bit difficult for those kinds of things to happen. So I want to make sure that, you know, my connections aren't seeing my connections, that I'm respecting people's privacy as much as I can. So the point is, go through your account preferences, make sure that you've switched on. Yep, this is all the free version, Christine. So absolutely. Make sure that you've switched on, you know, your security options like two-factor authentication. There are some hacks going on with LinkedIn now, so you definitely want to make sure that you're doing that kind of thing, securing your account. So you sign in security, making sure that you, you know, have switched on 2FA, as I said, that you are checking what accounts, where you're signed in. So you can see at the moment, this says I've got 4 active sessions. So I've got, you know, my mobile, I've got my laptop probably logged in, and I've got my desktop. So I'll need to go through this and figure out, I can sign out of all these sessions. So if you ever find, and the same is true of Facebook, if you ever find that you get hacked, you want to go into the security sessions, sign out of all of your sessions, change your login details, and then jump back in and make sure that, you know, everything's nice and above board again. So that can be found, all of that, you know, it's probably something you want to do over a cuppa. Just go through under the little me, settings and privacy, and honestly, just kind of work your way through this and make sure that you're happy and you understand. So here's one I want to change. I don't like autoplay videos, so I don't like scrolling through and have videos starting to play on me automatically. So you just want to make sure that you're going through and you understand what each of those things mean, and that you're okay with what's kind of set up on your profile. Okay, I'm going to jump back into the slide deck now and talk about a couple of other things with the last kind of 15 minutes. So there's some best practice in terms of the way that you connect with people. When you do connect with someone, and I'm just going to have a look at, let's go back to my profile. Let's go back to me. And Amanda, because you're top of my little panelist list right now, I'm just going to see if we're connected. Here we go. So you can see Amanda and I are 2nd degree connections right now, which means that I'm connected to someone who's connected to Amanda. So given that Amanda's with Tourism Tribe, I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say that that's probably Liz. So if I want to connect with Amanda now, and I'm on my laptop or my desktop, and this is one of the times where it will vary using your mobile phone. So if I'm on a laptop or desktop, I'm going to go connect and add a note, and I'm going to say, hi, Amanda. Thanks so much for joining the webinar this morning. Look forward to staying in touch. All the best. You just want to personalize a message. So you want to let people know why you're reaching out. Tell me, how are we connected? How do I know you? Have you just read an article of mine that you found interesting that you want to connect? Are you interested in doing something? Are we connected through WCEI? How are we connected? Tell me, because the first thing I'm going to do is take a look at your profile, particularly if you don't send me a connection request. So let's have a look. I've had a couple this morning. So here's a lady who commented on one of my posts this morning. Now, she's left me no message. So it's only because I saw her comment on a post this morning that I actually know who she is. But in this instance, to verify whether I want to connect with her, I would take a look at her profile. I would see where she's based. Is there an opportunity that there is, you know, some kind of common ground? Does she have a profile pic? Does she have a cover photo? Has she built out her profile a little bit so I know whether she's taking the platform seriously? And they're the things I'm going to take into consideration before I accept a connection request. Whereas this instance, you can see this gentleman has left me a little note. So he's told me where I know him or how we're connected. So in that instance, I got no problem connecting. I know exactly what's going on. So it just allows you to kind of start to filter through and start to see how people are treating and using their own LinkedIn profiles. So always send a personalized connection request. If you're doing it from your mobile phone, when you see the person that you want to connect with, you'll actually see there's 3 little dots. It'll say more. You click on that and then send personalized connection request and do it that way. Otherwise, it just sends an automatic request. And yep, Monica, we all get them. I've had some weirdos through LinkedIn that I've ignored. So absolutely, all I do is delete, and then I'll typically report them. The other thing that I'll do is if I connect with someone and then they immediately send me a message that's trying to sell me, I just go back into their profile and delete them, because that just annoys me. It's poor form. Poor form. Okay. So that's connecting. We're always going to send a personalized connection request, and you've got 300 characters to do that. Some other stuff worthwhile knowing. So LinkedIn has a search toolbar on, and this is on the free version. Now I pay for the version, but I'm going to show you this in the free version. So you can search for a person, for a company, for an industry. So I could search, for example, let's say Roma Council, Queensland, see all results. And now I can either drill down by clicking on the all filters, and then I'm just going to move a couple of Zoom boxes out of the way here. Okay, so now I can say, well, I don't want to connect. I don't want to look for people that I'm already connected with, because maybe I'm doing this as an outreach and I want to find people that would be worthy connecting with to build my network. So I want to look at 2nd and 3rd degree connections. I'm only interested in connecting with people in Australia, and in this instance, Roma's in Queensland. So let's narrow it down even further. And let's say I could add a company here. So at this point, I could say Roma Regional Council. And now I can go show results. And this is going to, there we go, show me that nobody's there that I'm not connected with already. Okay, so we can really begin to drill down and use this as a great way to begin expanding our networks. So if you're looking to connect with people in a particular industry or in a particular business, or that is a particular maybe business development or CEO, I can search for business development. And again, I'm going to go all filters, 2nd and 3rd. I'm happy to go Australia, not interested in Roma Council anymore. Show results. And this is going to show me everybody who matches that title of business development. Now I can go through and take a look at their profiles and see if there's anyone that I want to connect with. If you see that little gold in, it means they're on a paid plan, but that's really the only difference. Now, if I want to look at someone, all I do is click on their profile, open them up in another tab, take a look at them, and then decide whether or not I want to connect with them. So it's a really underutilized function on LinkedIn, but it's one that I would encourage you. You can even type in WCEI, and if another WCEI member has put WCEI in their profile, it will show up. So I could either go in and have a look at the page and see who is a part of, who has liked the page, and then I could connect with each of those members individually. And I could say, hey, Margaret, I see that we're both members of WCEI. Why aren't we connecting? I can send them a personalized request, but it's a nice way to expand your network in a friendly way. So I really love the search capabilities. On the free version, please be aware, I think you get 20 searches per month, and then it will close you down and you get another 20 at the start of next month. So Christine, how did you get the first line of your headlines under your name up front to appear on a separate line from the next one? Christine, do you want to come off mute and ask me that, please?
Yeah, so I was trying to change some things while you're online, and noticed I couldn't make the first line come up. If I wanted a first line differentiated from the next line, I couldn't make that happen. LinkedIn will run them together. And I even tried putting in, 100 spaces between them, and it still ran them together.
Yep. So are you doing something like a little sentence or a keyword and you're wanting a space between it?
Yeah. So there are two different things. So I wanted two separate lines for them.
Mm-hmm. So what I would probably suggest is to write it in Microsoft Word or Google Docs or something like that.
Yep.
Can you see I've got a little star in between mine?
Yes.
So all I do is when I write that in Google Docs or Word, I write it out and then I insert special character and I put the star in or a tick or, some kind of special character. And that's how I differentiate. But you can't stop them running the lines together. By adding that special character, though, it will at least create a bit of delineation between that thing and the next thing.
Right. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Okay. Any other questions? Because we're kind of fast running out of time. Okay. So we talked about adding a video cover story. So you can see that's my cheesy little look from recording my cover story. So it changes your profile pic as you scroll through from your static photo to, the talking head. So you can swap those out nice and easy whenever you want to. And then we went through the what's new stuff. So my challenge, here's my challenge for you all, because I always love to leave a good challenge, is pick something that we've gone through today, whether it's to update your headline, add some experience in. I would love to see you make a change to your profile today. Just one small change. You don't have to do everything today, but just start to make small steps. And if we're not connected, please send me a connection request so we can, love to help you on your journey and see how you're going with all of that. Now, we do have a few minutes to go. There's a couple of other things that I just wanted to touch on briefly, but I want to make sure, like I said, that we cover the questions that you have. So if you found this interesting and you'd like to stay connected, I do a free webinar every month and I'm happy to send the links out for these. It's a top 10 digital tips. So these, I spend a lot of time finding stuff that's going to make your life easier or increase time or make more leads or do anything like that. So that's my top 10 digital tips every month. I did release the book. So if you are someone that is overwhelmed by tech and never sure where to start, that's available. And of course, my small business tech community, which starts at $66 a month. And we do a masterclass, we do Q&A sessions. We've got an online community and it's a space for you to learn and grow in a safe environment. Before I flick off and make sure that we cover questions off, that's all of my connection tools there. So the website, my email, my LinkedIn, and my Facebook. I should get rid of that. So make sure that we're connected. And if I can help you out in any way, I would certainly love to do that. We have 5 minutes to go. So I want to use the last 5 minutes with questions. So who's got something they want to chat about? Surely someone's got something they want to chat about.
It was really good. Thank you very much. I learned 10 things at least.
Oh, 10 things. Give me one.
Oh, well, I've changed my profile while you were talking and made it first person.
Excellent.
And also started to weed out the complexity of what I do, which is changing. I've got the wrong name on the screen. It's got my, book club name. So it's, so I've already done that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, you're way ahead of the challenge then. You've done well.
So, Tracy, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Make one change, Catherine. Make one change. Start with your headline. It's always the best place to start.
So your masterclasses thing, do you have a set session once a month where you go through all of these things?
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole of September for the club has been about cybersecurity. So we've really focused on getting everybody's business secure online. So whether that's, how to switch on two-factor authentication on each of their social media profiles, how to back up their computers securely. So I get experts in from various fields, and we spend an entire month focused on a topic. So, you know, next year we've got LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff coming up. But September was all about cybersecurity. So whenever you join, you get access to the back training catalog as well. But Catherine, I know you've got the book. So in the book, if you go to, I wrote a whole section on LinkedIn, and you've got access to the templates. So if you look at the QR code, it'll take you to the templates page, and I've got a template that you can work your way through setting up your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn is on page 240 of the book, and it'll walk you through it step by step of how to set it all up.
Thank you, Tracy. That finding the page for a start is fantastic. Thank you.
It's a good start, isn't it? 240. That'll kind of get you going. Drop me an email if you get stuck, and always happy to have a chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Anything else, folks?
I have a quick question for you, Tracy.
Yep.
Are we going to see more of WCEI on your profile?
Do I not even mention it? Let me have a look.
No. So that's your one bit of homework.
There you go. Where do you think I should put it, Andrea?
Well, I think you should be on a committee.
Yeah, well, sadly, I had to resign from the committee because I can't get down to any of the meetings is my big problem.
Yep. So we might have to take that one offline, but we need to find you a place on WCEI that's reflected on your profile.
Okay. I will bow to the incoming president on that one.
That's your one task you've got to do.
That's my
today.
one task. I've been told. Excellent. Thanks, Andrea. Folks, anything else? Anyone I haven't heard from? Gail, Hannah, Emily, Lynette, how you're feeling? Jasna, I'm going to allow you to talk. You came in, and Lynette, I think. Everyone's so quiet. I'm not used to such a quiet audience.
I think we're all thinking.
You're all going away and going, oh my goodness, great content. Yep. Thanks so much. Have a lot to do, Gail. One thing, just start. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just start with one thing. And if you can do one thing every couple of days or one thing once a week, you know, the profile is a breathing beast. So it will grow and flex. Rachel, you've
Tracy.
been so polite as to put your hand up. Really lovely.
Tracy,
how are you doing?
Say thank you. It's a really, really good session. I've got a quick question about best places to find keywords for your business or your role. Do we go through Google Analytics, or are there some other hacks you've got for us? Yeah,
sure. Great question. So a couple of things. One, I use a platform called People Often Ask. And I'll show you that. And this is a free tool. And this is great for, no, not People Often Ask, Answer the Public. I'm showing you the wrong thing. Answer the Public. Okay, so this is a great tool for also coming up with ideas for writing blogs and things as well. So if you open answerthepublic.com, and Rachel, what's your industry?
Consulting.
Yeah, so around a particular topic or?
Financial services.
So if I type in financial services, if I'm looking for Australian content, the big thing is to make sure that you flick this to Australia and go search. And now what this is doing is this is trawling Google as of today and looking for questions and content that people are asking Google about financial services. And then what it's going to do is compile a list of questions for you that people are asking. And I just change that to data so it's not in a wheel, and I'm not trying to do that. And then it gives me a bunch of stuff. So how financial services trigger economic growth. Now, some of them you're going to go through and go, not important, not important, not important. But you can see this can give you a bunch of ideas to start with. So answerthepublic.com is the first one I would look at. The other thing I would do is go to Google and type into the search bar the one word that you know is going to start it all, and say financial advisors. And then you can see around about halfway down the screen, you're going to get this little thing people also ask. And these are the other questions that Google are saying people are looking for right now. So this is where you can start to drill in. So, you know, what are the types of financial services? What's the purpose? So now you can start to drill in. So now maybe you do a search about types of financial services, and then you can start to really narrow down keywords. Now you might find in your industry, Rachel, instead of a word, it may be a phrase. Mm-hmm. So that's what we call long tail keywords, when it becomes a phrase as opposed to a word. Just as valuable. Valuable. Yeah.
Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome. Excellent. All right. Like I said, happy to hang around, but we're on time. The only other thing I guess I wanted to mention in terms of posting, if you can get into the habit and you really see the value in LinkedIn, best practice right now is posting around 3 times per week. Monday, Fridays, and an absolute waste of time. Sunday afternoon gets a lot of good traffic. I typically post Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and my audience are typically online in the morning, but afternoon is also as equally valuable. So that would be something to work up to if you see a lot of value in LinkedIn. If you're just starting off, I would say post once per week, but just be religious about it. So what happens is once you get into that habit, people will begin to look at your profile and they'll look for that consistency. So if you can, you know, just do once a week for a few months and get yourself into a swing, then maybe you consider adding an additional day. But definitely it's that consistency that will win you over. And do not put a link in your post. So when you're writing a post, so if I have a look at, here we go. So if I have a look at, you know, I shared the link to say that I was doing this today. Now, if I was posting about this, I would not put this link in my post. What you'll see in a lot of the times in the actual post, it'll have link available in the comments, and then you pop the link in the comment. Now, the reason for that is LinkedIn will penalize you for sending people away from the platform. So the way around that is by just saying, you know, if you've written a blog or you're referencing a news article or something like that, you know, you'll put your little bit of a curated version about it and then say, you know, if you'd like to read the article in full, it'll be available in the comments, and pop the article in the comments. And that just avoids the LinkedIn kind of taking you away from the platform. Excellent. All right. I feel like I've stunned you all. So hopefully you're not going into overwhelm. Hopefully you're all okay. I'm going
Tracy,
to,
Tracy, one, just commenting on what you have just said. I often read various magazines like The Guardian or whatever, and I comment on it, or the Women's Agenda, and I comment on an article in there which I'm interested in. Let's say it's about domestic violence, but I include the link so that people can read the article at the end of my 2 or 3 sentences of comment. Is that wrong?
Start popping the link in your comments. So let me see if I can find one. So where you would certainly comment about the article in, you know, in your post. But as you go through, then just trying to see if I can show you one. Oh, this is all activity. Then all you would say at the end is, you know, if you'd like to read the article in full, the link will be available in the comments. And then you just pop the link. I haven't done one in a while. Maybe
in your own comments.
Correct. So you just pop a comment in and you'd say, you know, as discussed, or as, you know, as per the post, please find the link here, or just find the link here.
Thank you. That's a good, very good. Thank you.
A parting tip. There we go. Excellent. Okay, a couple of other last comments. Will you send us a copy of the recording, Jasna? Absolutely. It'll take me a while to download it and upload it and do all of that kind of stuff. But yes, and P.S. my morning was completely distracted by patients despite great organizing things. It always happens, doesn't it? Excellent. All right, folks. Well, that's kind of it for me. You have my details. Please, if I can be of any assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, that's all my details. So you've got the website, the email, etc. there. You will get an email off me this afternoon or this evening with the recording. And if I can, again, be of any help, just reach out. I'm always here to help. So that's it. Take care.
Thank
Have
you.
a fabulous
Thanks.
day. Thank you all for sharing an hour of your day with me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.